Hello, everybody, and welcome to Paso Norte Community Foundation second live Q&A on Facebook. It's titled Feeding Families During COVID-19. Today, we're here once again with Paso Norte Community Foundation CEO Tracy Yellen. We're also joined by El Paso Independent School District Superintendent Juan Cabrera, as well as El Paso Fighting Hunger Food Bank Board member Stuart Schwartz to discuss the growing need to provide meals to struggling families during the COVID-19 pandemic. EPISD has set up the EPISD Cares Fund in partnership with the Community Foundation and the Pasoans Fighting Hunger Food Bank. Donations to EPISD Cares are matched dollar for dollar up to $1 million by a partnership with the Paul L. Foster Family Foundation, the Woody and Gail Hunt Family Foundation, and the Mountain Star Sports Group Foundation. So big thanks to them. Everyone here will be answering your questions today about the EPISD Cares Fund, about El Pasoans Fighting Hunger Food Bank, community needs, and how you can help others who are in need during this global health crisis. Also, how you can get help if you need, your family needs, or loved ones need it. We encourage you to submit your questions early in the comments here on Facebook Live, and we'll answer as many as possible here on the video chat or in the comments during this 15-minute live session. As always, we do encourage you to visit epcovid19.org. It's your COVID-19 information hub for the Paso Norte region. It was created by Paso Norte Health Foundation to help the community, that's you and your loved ones, find valuable resources to get through the current health crisis. There's many links there and other valuable resources for parents, students, businesses, mental health needs, lots more, including how to give or get help if you or your family needs help with food in this time. So welcome to everybody. Welcome Tracy, welcome Stuart, and welcome Mr. Cabrera. Thank you for joining us today. Tracy, let's start with a quick question for you. What are some of the needs that the Community Foundation is seeing and addressing right now in the community?
Yeah, so, right away, fundamentally, we saw that there was a need for information. So even as we were being bombarded with all kinds of resources, we decided to set up the epcovid19.org that you mentioned as a central resource hub for information, and have done the same thing for whatiscovid19.com. Additionally, we set up a few different funds to help respond to immediate community needs around COVID. So the first was the COVID-19 Response Fund, which is really earmarked to nonprofits serving the most vulnerable in our community. So the food insecure, like we're going to talk about today, the homeless shelters and homeless population, and homebound seniors. And we have received a lot of wonderful contributions and are making grants to nonprofit organizations, including El Pasoans Fighting Hunger and all of the homeless shelters and the senior fund to address those immediate needs. We've also seen a big need, as the community I think is aware, for protective equipment for first responders, for those in the medical community, on both sides of the border. So we have funds that have been set up. We have a lot of 3D printers in action in our community making protective equipment, and then also purchasing, equipment in bulk for the Medical Society, for providers in Juarez, for those working and volunteering in homeless shelters and the food bank. We have a young man who set up a fund called Fortify the Heroes, who's working to raise money to provide meals and snacks for all of our healthcare workers on the front lines. And then last but not least, before EPIC Cares, we have the Food and Beverage Workers Fund, which was set up in cooperation with local restaurateurs to provide $100 gift cards for people in the food and beverage industry who've lost their jobs. That's in partnership with Workforce Solutions. But EPIC Cares is such a beautiful partnership. That's what we're here to talk about today. And it's a partnership between EPIC, El Pasoans Fighting Hunger, and ourselves.
Great. And right now I'm having a little bit difficulty hearing Tracy, I know that the audience on Facebook Live can hear her. So you may have already answered this question, but who are some of the people that Community Foundation is partnering with right now?
Yeah, so I kind of went through the different funds that we're working on. The Response Fund, which we've received support from Wells Fargo and GECU and the One Gas Foundation, El Paso Electric, AT&T, and so many partners. And then we're making grants, as I said, to homeless shelters, El Pasoans Fighting Hunger, and organizations serving homebound seniors. We've talked about the food and beverage and the workforce board and that partnership. But really, what we're here to talk about today is EPISD Cares and our partnership with the El Paso Independent School District. So I think it would be great for us to turn it to Juan, to Mr. Cabrera, to really share all the work. I've been so impressed. I'm a parent of an EPISD, and I did tell Mr. Cabrera offline, and in all sincerity, how great EPISD has been in communicating with our kids, with our students. We hear frequently from our principal, from our teachers. My daughter is bouncing a basketball upstairs. She's in her basketball class, so she's on Zoom. It's a little noisy, but I guess maybe you can't hear it, but they are. It has been so important to keep. They've been doing such a great job keeping them connected, and I really can't thank the district for all that they're doing. But Mr. Cabrera, let me turn it over to you so you can tell us more about that.
We actually made the decision on Thursday, March 12th, the day before spring break, that we're going to switch to a virtual schooling option. And what we did almost immediately from day one, as we began to set the culture and the mindset, we said, what we need to do is during this time, we don't know what's ahead. I mean, this was 5 weeks ago now. We're going to shift from a pure academic institution. We are paid money from the state to lead and to teach the academic standards put forth by Texas. But I said in this particular time, we're going to have to look at the hierarchy of needs. We always know that there's certain students in our schools, in our brick and mortar schools, that have food insecurity, may be homeless, may have some personal issues at home, dealing with medical issues. So we always know we have that certain part of the population that we have to pay special attention to outside of the academics in the classroom. The problem that we raised back again in March 12th, March 13th was we don't get to see them. You sort of figure out who's left and who are the insecure kids by they're not showing up to school, or there's inconsistencies, or you get to know a child and you can, without having to chase too much, you can figure out who's coming to class and who isn't. We said we need to figure out a way to be more of a social services agency, partner with nonprofits. We've had calls with United Way and other nonprofits. I have a call today with the YWCA. They're offering free childcare for some of our parents. We're going to work on that. So all these ideas started brewing around how can we become more of a social services agency. We do have social workers on staff, but as an organization, we're not a social services agency, we're an education institution. So as we're trying to make that transition, and as we're reaching out, every teacher and every principal in our district, these are over 5,000 people, they received names to call and students to reach out to. And as we started whittling down the list of and identifying families and students that had not responded, what I heard often is we need to do more. What else can we do? There's families that aren't responding. We're hearing a lot about food insecurity and other issues. And the idea we had, and this was just following up on the fact that the Hunt and Foster Foundations created the matching grant. And I know Tracy and Stuart very well from all their work in the community. We thought, why don't we put together a fund where we can lead? We have 9,000 employees. If we can get everyone to give a little, if we can encourage our vendors to give, as we're doing now, and our partners to give, then we could hopefully double those resources and provide a lot more for the community. If we can help get families fed and hopefully contribute towards their health and well-being, we know they're going to be better positioned to participate in our virtual schooling and whatever else we need to do over the summer as we continue virtual schooling and hopefully starting back in the fall.
Sorry. So I have everybody's sound now, just so everybody knows. So Mr. Cabrera, tell us a little bit about what is EPISD Cares, why it was set up, and about the partnership with El Pasoans Fighting Hunger Food Bank.
I don't know, Trace, maybe you can take over. I just did all that, so I don't, unless that was live, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was perfect. I think so. People know EPISD Cares was launched by the El Paso Independent School District to encourage donations to the EPISD Cares Fund, which is housed in the Paso del Norte Community Foundation. 100% for the benefit of El Pasoans Fighting Hunger Food Bank that is doing an incredible job providing meals and feeding our families in this pandemic. So I'd love to hear, Stuart, from you. Stuart is a board member of El Pasoans Fighting Hunger Food Bank. And if you could describe the needs that the food bank has right now that you're seeing that our families have, I think we'd love to hear more about that.
Sure. Thank you very much, Tracy. Yeah, we're going through a crisis, as we all know, probably worse than we've ever seen in this nation. And it's impacting those that are most vulnerable in our community. It's impacting folks that are food insecure. We typically have 200,000 folks that our neighbors that we support each and every year at the food bank. We're now thinking we'll be supporting about 300,000 folks as unemployment rises. 34,000 people out of work as of the last report. 10% of the workforce likely to get worse, and so food insecurity has become a real issue. We typically distribute about 600,000 pounds of food a week to the 200,000 that are food insecure. During this crisis, we are now up to 2.5 million pounds of food per week that's being distributed. And that creates all kinds of challenges. It creates challenges not only in sourcing food and finding food to bring into our community, but the transportation costs to bring it into El Paso, to having the facilities, the mega distribution centers that are so required in order to reach all the people in our community. We now have 5 mega distribution centers scattered all throughout town. But this is a crisis like we've never seen. And we are so grateful, so very grateful to the outpouring of support that we've gotten from the Hunt family and the Foster family and Mountain Star Sports Group for their matching grant, as well as to EPISD and Mr. Cabrera and EPISD Cares. Their partnership with the Paso Norte Community Foundation is an enormous assistance to us as we try to respond to the desperate need in this community and the people that are very scared, very frightened of what their future looks like. And we could not do it without having partners such as the Fosters, the Hunts, the Mountain Star Sports, and of course EPISD and Paso Norte Foundation, as well as the El Paso Community Foundation.
Community Foundation and working and knowing the work of El Pasoans Fighting Hunger over the years, they have grown their capacity unbelievably, especially in the last 2 years. And they are stepping up to meet this huge demand in our community. And I am so impressed with the work that they do. They absolutely need financial resources, which is why Mr. Cabrera and EPISD so generously launched the EPISD Cares Fund to help get those resources to them. They also, need, like Mr. Schwartz had said, they need to be able to purchase food. They need to be able to pay for transportation. In some cases, they have more staffing than they've had to pay for before, but they also have a lot of wonderful volunteers that are going every day to help fill boxes of food for our families. So there are many ways to give, but giving to the EPISD Cares Fund is one of those, and you can either access that at episd.org or at pdnfoundation.org and make a gift. Again, 100% of those donations will go directly to El Pasoans Fighting Hunger. And you can also learn more about volunteering at the food bank, El Pasoans Fighting Hunger Food Bank website, and donating. Again, these donations will be matched to help meet that and draw down the $1 million matching fund from the Hunt Family Foundation, Foster Family Foundation, and Mountain Star Sports Group Foundation. And it's every dollar, they are able to stretch them better than almost any organization in our community right now in terms of feeding those most food insecure.
Tenfold increase so far in I guess that sounds like your weekly the food that you're distributing, which is amazing. That shows a big need. I also want to thank, just before we go too far, so far Teachers Federal Credit Union has donated $10,000, and then Ross Moore and the El Paso Federation of Teachers has also donated 10,000 to EPISD Cares. So those are two big donations that got us kicked off. We're very excited about that. And TFCU has been a great partner. And so we're just very grateful that they got us started.
Yeah, and those are incredible gifts. Gifts of they're 100. They're tax deductible. This year, all gifts are 100% tax deductible at certain thresholds. Every gift of every size is welcome. If you don't want to give a gift online, you can write a check to EPISD Cares and mail that to the Paso del Norte Community Foundation at 221 North Kansas, Suite 1900. El Paso, Texas 79901. And so you can mail donations as well.
Great. Oh, we have had a really good response here on Facebook of people watching. We thank everybody for watching. Before we go, we do have one question from the Facebook discussion for Mr. Cabrera. Kathy wants to know, she says, teachers were asked to call parents and ask some survey questions, one being about the need for food. Who's looking at these surveys results and what is going to be done with those results?
Well, that's a great question. We actually had a meeting for a couple of hours this morning on this very issue, and we're going to share this with the public. We're digging down into that data, and we actually are documenting. We've asked a number of questions to parents, and I want to say for everyone, thank you for your patience with that. We did have some feedback that it was strange for us to be asking those, but the reason is specifically for this. We are then getting those answers and directing those to our nonprofit partners. And in this case, we can get them to the to the El Paso Feeds Hunger organization or to anyone else that can support them. So we're using all of the data collected from parents to try to identify nonprofit partners. And then we have a community outreach team at EPISD that will follow up with families after the teachers get that information for us. Thank you to the teachers and staff for reaching out. We're going to continue to do that. It's so important to make sure that we identify every single family to find out where they are. I mean, some of them may have left the city, and that's okay, but we just want to find out where they are. And if they're not responding, can we offer them any support with any of the nonprofits in El Paso?
Great.
Yeah,
and before we go,
Dave,
yes.
Dave, I just want to add, EPISD is also doing a great job feeding families, and so students can pick up meals. They're providing over 150,000 meals a week to families at all the school locations. So that's a really important resource for families to remember. But
Tracy,
they recognize that, yes.
I just want to give just real quick specifics on that. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 to 1. And if you go to epic.org, it lists the 50 school locations. And on the Friday drop-off, we're going to give weekend meals now. And great news on that. We just got approval from the Texas Department of Agriculture. That's going to continue at least until June 30th at a minimum. So even though the last day of school is May 22nd, families for now, and I think this is great, Stuart, until June 30th, we'll be able to do that. We are going to ask to continue to do this in July. We don't want to stop because we're in a great routine. We started at only 3,000 a day back in mid-March, and we're up to 150,000 a week. So that's pretty telling about where we are. Thank you for reminding me about that, Tracy.
Yeah. So we will post that schedule and information on the COVID19.org website. Also, you can go to episd.org to find that. We will also make sure that all of those mobile locations that Stuart referenced for El Pasoans Fighting Hunger are available at epcovid19.org in addition. And so please share those resources. We thank you in advance for your generosity. No gift is too small, no gift is too large, and we know that it will be put to good use. So thank
Tracy,
you to Mr. Cabrera.
Just one other
Tracy.
point. I know we're going to have our EPIC communications team volunteer on Friday, and we're going to start trying to send groups of people to the extent they feel okay with the social distancing. We're going to try to send groups of people to the food bank to volunteer. So Stuart, get ready. We're going to send a bunch of folks, and I encourage others to volunteer because I've heard that they do need a lot more people out there to help provide all of the food.
Great.
Juan, thank you so much. And we're being very creative at the food bank, making certain that everybody has the social distancing that's required, masks, gloves. It's a tremendous opportunity to help the community if you can come and volunteer There's a website, a page on the website, Pasoansfightinghunger.org, where you can volunteer, or where you can donate. You can donate to EPISD Cares. We really want to meet this match as quickly as possible. And every single dollar we raise, either through EPISD Cares or our own website, gets us closer to that goal. And we are so grateful to you, Juan, and to you, Tracy, for supporting us in this humongous way and being so important, a partner to our community. Thank you so much.
Okay, we thank you guys for joining us today on this chat. And once again, we do want to encourage everyone to log on to epcovid19.org. There's lots of information there available in both English and Spanish. There's also a website up for the Juarez community as well. And you can find links there to a lot of valuable information, including information from EPISD Cares and El Pasoans Fighting Hunger Food Bank. We'll be back next week with another Facebook Live here on the Paso Norte Community Foundation Facebook page. Join us tomorrow on our sister organization's Facebook page, which is Paso Norte Health Foundation, where we'll also be discussing some other topics related to COVID-19. And we'll be here at noon tomorrow for Wellness Wednesday. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Mr. Cabrera, for joining us today.
Thank you. Please give.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.